Hello, hello. My name is Brittany.
And I'm Kate.
And we are
The Fools.
Join us as we explore everything spiritual, astrological, and overall mystical.
Don't forget to follow your intuition, but more importantly, follow us at The Fools.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fools podcast. Today we are super excited because we have a special guest with us.
Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Carly. My name is Carly Tway. I am the owner and creator of a brand called Merkababe Designs. It started out as a jewelry brand and then slowly turned into, something much, much bigger and greater than that. And I do sound therapy, vibrational alignment, crystal work. The list goes on.
Yes, amazing. Me and Carly actually met years ago. I think it was like 2014 or 2015. Dancing together, and we just stayed connected through social media, and both of us kind of found our own spiritual journeys like separately, but it was very cool to watch you go through yours because you definitely did way before I did. I don't know, it's just funny how the world works like that, like I just remember you as like, and we were like children like dancing for some show. But
yeah, you know what? That's so funny too. I think it's natural for dancers since we're already like really creative and like tapping into our, I don't know, maybe like our soul's wisdom in a different way. It just like kind of is a perfect segue into understanding ourselves in a more spiritual way. So it makes sense that we found like a really similar path after, dancing and everything.
yeah, I love that. So Carly, it is crazy to see the amount of things you have like your fingers dipped in. I think, is that the saying?
Yeah, she is a multi-hyphenate queen.
Literally, okay, this girl not only has a sick crystal shop, but she makes her own custom jewelry, does sound baths that she hosts, has an oracle deck that I'm pretty sure you designed, right?
Yeah, I wrote it and designed it.
And oh my God, my cat has started her own podcast called Musings with Merkababe. So you are literally invested in the game, like so many aspects. So I guess our first question would be like, how did you start getting into this stuff and then find yourself, diving off the deep end?
Right. Okay. So it's a funny story. I've always been interested in what lies beyond the physical for as long as I can remember, like starting as a child, collecting rocks, making potions, talking to the moon, doing all of that. That kind of intensified when, do you guys remember the TV show Lost that came out in like 2004?
Yes.
Okay, so that came out and it was all about mystery and destiny and illusions. And at that time I was like 10 or 11 and I was like, wow, there's so much mystery in the world. I have to figure it out. And then when I was in 6th grade, my dad handed me the book The Secret, which is all about the law of attraction.
Mhm.
And I started really, really, really young. So at that point, it was just like game over. Like I'm in it. I'm manifesting my first boyfriend. I'm manifesting good grades. I'm like in middle school.
Oh my God, I love that.
Middle school manifestations sound like the best.
It's so funny. I feel like The Secret is like such a, have you seen The Secret? I feel like I've asked you this before and you said no.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's such a gateway to this stuff because it's very I haven't read the book, but there's a TV show on it or a movie, I guess, I don't know. But it basically just talks about people manifesting different things in their life and the law of attraction. I just can't believe you digested that at such a young age. I didn't realize like I was manifesting when I was younger. I remember like getting to a new dance school and be like, before the year's over, I'm going to be in the top level. Like just doing things like that, but like not being able to comprehend what that really meant.
Yeah, and it's weird because we're manifesting. We've been doing all this spiritual stuff that we're into now since we were itty bitty, but we just didn't have the verbiage to figure it out. But I don't know. I guess my dad handing me that book really, really just made it a huge part of my personality. To manifest and tune into the law of attraction. And there is things beyond the physical, and there's more to the world than what you can just see. And that was literally just like the gateway into whatever it is now.
So when did you know, like from this being a passion, when did you know you wanted to turn it into something of a business and that you wanted to, be able to spread this joy with other people, but also profit off of it?
Right. So I kind of started studying spirituality like it was like a school, like it was a university. I never went to college, but I studied spirituality like no other. And because of that, I got really into crystals, I got really into sound, I got really into all of that stuff. And I started making my own wire wrapped jewelry. And I remember I went to Coachella one year, it was like 2014 or 15, and I was wearing a piece that I'd made. And this girl comes up to me and she was like, I have to have that necklace. And I can't remember if I actually sold it to her on the spot or if I made her one after and like got her number or something, because it's Coachella and like that's foggy. But I remember at that point I was like, okay, people want this stuff. Like this could potentially be a business. Like maybe I'll lean
Wow.
into it. And that was kind of just like, okay, this might be able to work.
And that was definitely like a universal sign that someone literally picked you out of a crowd of 30,000
Thousands.
people
Yeah.
and was like, that, I need that.
That-
Yeah, seriously.
That's
And you know what?
affirming.
Right. And I'm still friends with that girl today.
Wow, that's crazy. For those of you guys who don't know, the necklace I'm wearing right now is actually from Carly. When I first started like getting into crystals, I was like, I want something around me all the time that's, going to help my vibe. And I think I posted a story and you were like, girl, I got you. And I couldn't even describe what I wanted, but you were able to bring it to life perfectly. I wear this almost all the time. It's crazy that you not only make pieces, but you also take custom orders, and to bring somebody's, I don't know, needs to life, I think is really special.
Oh, thank you. I love that you love your piece. It was actually really fun to make. That's the best part about creating jewelry, because somebody gives me an idea and then that energy comes through and it becomes this collaboration of like creative channeling essentially via me and another person, and something that I would have never come up with on my own starts to like be birthed into fruition essentially, because there's like this collaboration energy. And I would have never thought to do half the stuff that I do in custom orders, because it has to like be sparked by another person. So that's honestly one of my favorite things about having a jewelry brand, is and being able to facilitate, in that way, is because it's just like bringing someone's energy into the physical reality, making manifest something that's, ethereal. It's really, really, really awesome.
That's really cool. One of the coolest readings that I've ever received was when I lived in Arizona as well for a quick beat. And this jewelry maker just channeled all the people that were coming to this reading and like gave you the piece of jewelry that like works with you. And it was crazy because to this day I still like those certain stones because they just work well with me, like hematite and like dragonstone. And I just think that's a really fascinating talent, and it's something that people can keep with them and
Hmm.
remember.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. That sounds really awesome.
So, if you're making custom pieces for people, we're looking on your website and all the things you offer, and we know you have one-on-one sessions. Do you normally just take orders through, written form, or do you like to actually talk to somebody face to face via the internet, or maybe face to face if you happen to live in the same area? Or, do you not really do that with jewelry and do that more with sound baths or oracle readings, or how does a one-on-one kind of work with you?
Well, those are few and far between. Like one-on-one sessions are few and far between. I I offer them when I feel energetically pushed to offer them, whether it be through
Mm.
crystal work or sound therapy or custom orders. I only open custom orders every now and again, maybe like 3 to 4 times a year. So I really, really tap into my own soul's wisdom and my own intuition. And I want to make sure I'm extremely aligned and aware of what's going on and energetically, figure it out before
Yeah.
I open up that space. So there's a few ways that I go about it. A lot of the times I will do it over the internet. We'll have, I'll do these things that are personalized sound baths where I will offer sessions up, and you can, book a little session on Zoom, and we'll talk about kind of the things that you want to bring into your life, where you're at now, where you're headed, what you want to, bring into your life, what you want to make manifest, where you want to go, what challenges, basically all of that, just where you're at in general. And I will then say, okay, great. And we'll hang up and I'll make a sound bath with all of the instruments that I have, which is, I can't even count how many crystal bowls, maybe like 12. And then I have metal
Wow.
bowls and I have multiple gongs and chimes and drums and all of that. And I'll just create something, like creatively channel something via the intention that we set. And I'll create like a sound bath that's either, it can be anything. Everything is, up to the person. It could be 10 minutes, it could be an hour, it could be 2 hours. It doesn't really matter. And that's kind of something that I offer also with the personalized crystals and the personalized crystal jewelry. That's more of like an intake form. If we need to
Mhm.
go deeper, we'll go deeper. If we need to, have a call, we'll have a call. So I really do center my entire business around the energetics of it, like what I'm feeling universally pushed into doing, gently guided into doing. So nothing's always out on the table, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a really smart way to work. I feel like that would kind of make sure that you never reach that point of burnout because you're always just like tapping into your own energy. And that is something that I think a lot of people, especially Americans, struggle with is listening to that inner monologue. Me and Kate harp on that all the time is like trusting your intuition, your gut. It's like there for a reason. And it's great that you've been able to incorporate that into your business.
I think with the type of work that I'm in, I think that I'm really grateful and I'm really lucky to be able to, I don't have to report to someone. I don't have to, do all of that. So I'm able to honor my cycles. But I think that it can be done even when you do have a 9 to 5 or you do work for someone else, because you can honor your cycles in a different way. And, obviously, whatever that means to you, it's kind of up to you to find out. You got to find your intuition. You got to, or follow your intuition, find out what that means, find out what cycle you're in. What does your intuition sound like? All of that. But, there is a way to do it, even if you aren't in this line of work, which I think is extremely exciting and
Yeah.
hopeful.
I think it's really interesting when you talked about sound baths because we've been to a couple now. We've just started, which totally we will have to go to yours when you're back in the LA area. But I didn't realize that you could plan out a sound bath. Is that stupid? Like I thought they were all like off the cuff to like
Oh.
off the energy. I don't know. I think it's really interesting. I remember seeing on your Instagram somewhere that you trained in a different country with sound bath healing, or am I making that up?
That's
Or did
correct.
you just go
I've
somewhere?
Yeah, I've actually trained in sound therapy and vibrational alignment at like 4 or 5 different schools because I literally can never get enough and I'm obsessed with learning and I can't stop. Okay, let me preface this. I have 5 planets in Scorpio, which is like extremely obsessive. My sun sign and a bunch of other ones.
Do you have any Scorpio?
I'm a Scorpio
You're a Scorpio rising.
rising.
Yeah. I have like no water in my chart. I have like, I think one water sign. I'm all earth and fire. But that's
Mhm.
great because I mean, if you're making this your like profession, you're offering healing vibes, I feel like to constantly be in a state of learning as you're like healing people is so important.
Oh, absolutely. I'm enrolled in 3 schools now. Like
Oh, wow.
I never stop. When I said that I studied spirituality like it was a university, I literally did. I was mastering in metaphysics, like in my own right. It was just something that was an insatiable need to learn. It still is now. And I think that's why I offer so many different things. Maybe that, maybe it's a Scorpio placements, or maybe it's that I'm a manifesting generator in human design, which innately kind of causes you to be multi-passionate and not be able to like stick in one lane. Like I fantasize about trying to stick to one thing and only having one facet to my business, but that is just not energetically possible for me. I love way too many things.
It's so interesting that you say that because one of my biggest pet peeves with social media right now is everyone saying you have to find a niche. Like you have to find a niche, you have to lock it
Mhm.
down, you have to get specific about what you want to do. And I'm like, that's just not how humans are made. Like
No, no
I
way. Yeah.
I feel like to grow any sort of social media right now, they're like, not even can you be a cooking channel? You have to be like, I only bake cakes.
Pastries.
Yeah, like it's so crazy that we've put ourselves in these like little holes. And I like feel like it's my life's mission to like,
Right.
yeah, to make that stop happening. Cause I'm like, listen, I'm a dancer, I act, I like spirituality. Why can't all of these things be a part of me? And why can't I share them all? I don't know why we have like put ourselves in these little corners like this, but I just don't think it's how humans were meant to be.
Well, humans have been trying to stick themselves in a box on their own for so long just to simplify things. And it honestly just like limits us in so many different ways. So I'm so with you. People will try to put themselves in a box or try to put other people in a box to make life and just the magic of this entirety of our existence more digestible. But like, we are so beyond, it is so beyond comprehensible, like how wild it is that we're even existing on this planet in living, breathing bodies. And then to go on the internet and be like, you have to be a person that bakes cakes, but only cakes for women, and this and this and this. And you can't, your niche has to be so unbelievably specific, and it's limiting. You know what I mean? So I'm
Mhm.
totally with you on that. And maybe you're a manifesting generator too. Do you know what you are in human design?
No, I will be honest. I've tried to look in the human design chart before, and it was like going right over my head. I do remember I looked up something about like the way that you manifest. It depends on like the arrows by your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
And mine was like,
Or yeah.
mine said that like the way I manifest is general. And it's so funny because so many people say like you got to get specific with your manifestations and whatever. And I feel like that never works for me. And then it
Mm.
was so gratifying to look at my human design chart and it was like, yeah, it doesn't work for you. Like, because I always, because you get into that cycle of like, oh, I'm doing it wrong. I must not be a manifester. Like, I don't know, you start blaming yourself.
Yeah, I know. It's human design in its own regard is so complicated. I think like just looking at the chart, you're like, oh my gosh, there's gates, there's numbers, there's triangles, there's all these different numbers, there's a right cross of this phoenix. What the heck is that?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not well versed in it, but I do know what I am. So because of that, I like all of these things. I like the human design, I like the natal chart, I like astrology. I like all of those things because it gives you a deeper insight on who you are as a person and what your energy imprint is on this earth. But like a niche, we can't necessarily be married to this one facet of our existence or this one category that we can put ourselves in. It's the same thing with niche. It's the same thing with my sun sign is Scorpio. Like we can't limit ourselves and put ourselves in a box like that because then how are we going to learn and grow and evolve and adapt and change?
Totally.
So then going back to all the services that you even offer, does it just kind of come in seasons as to like what you are like more attracted to or like your favorite thing to be doing at that point in time?
You know what? Yes, it does. It does kinda look like that. A lot of the times I I'm waiting for an opportunity or an invitation, like a universal invitation, whether I can say yes or no to after I check in with myself and see if I have the energy for it. So right now, I'm in the energy of like attaining crystals and making custom jewelry and doing that because that's the energy that I'm in right now. Last week I was doing sound baths. The week before that I was doing energy work. The week before that I was teaching classes. So it's very different, but I do update people on what's going on. I don't just like leave it up to chance and whoever finds me finds me. I definitely have an email list and I let people know like, this is what we're up to this week, this is what we're doing. I do, however, the most consistent thing is I teach classes all the time on all things spirituality, and they're always free and they're in my Facebook community.
Oh, wow. They're always free. That's so amazing. Is this
Yeah.
um is this listed on your website as well? The
Yes.
Facebook
So
link?
yes, I have two websites. The one that you can find everything is just my name. It's www.carlytway.com, and all of my links are there. It's essentially a more glamorous link tree, and everything is there. You can find the jewelry, you can find the oracle deck, you can find sound baths, you can find the podcast, the YouTube channel, the Merkababe Mystery School, the Facebook group. Literally, there's so many things. I don't even know if I named them all, but you can find them all there.
That's really cool. I remember I thought this when I ordered stuff from you and Kate had brought it up. What does Mercababe mean? Like, how did you come up with that name?
So, Merca Babe is like a little cheeky spin-off of the word Merkaba, which is a sacred geometrical figure, which can, I guess, simply be translated into mind, body, spirit, Merkaba. And the Merkaba is essentially like maybe, I guess the best way to describe it is like a vehicle of light that provides protection and transportation for our consciousness to reach higher dimensions. And
Mm.
yeah, that I don't know. It's like it's beyond the physical as most things that I'm interested in. But I loved that word. I loved what it meant, and I was like, I want to make it cute, and so I put babe at the end.
That's so smart. I feel like we love a good play on words here at the
Yes.
Fools
Is that
podcast.
like an Egyptian origins or?
There is origins of the Merkaba, which is, I think it's maybe like the third step out from the seat of life. So sacred geometry is all over. It's in like all ancient buildings. You can see like the seed of life or the flower of life literally etched into the walls of not only ancient Egyptian, but ancient Greek and Roman and literally everywhere, all over Europe and wherever else you can find anything. But they've been finding these like seed of life carvings, carved in so many different ancient buildings. And then there's the seed of life, then there's the flower of life, then it transforms into like a 3 or 4 dimensional shape, and then it becomes the Merkaba. So it's like the next step in our consciousness. So it's I don't know if anybody knows the actual origin.
It's so interesting that it's like the same thing in all of these different places and cultures and whatever. It just shows you how connected we all are, no matter where we are in the planet, which is such a special feeling.
Oh yeah. I like the idea that we are literally the universe experiencing itself in a 7 billion different bodies or 7 billion different types of trees or animals or whatever. Like we're all the exact same thing, but we're just living out being the universe in all of these different tiny little bodies. It's honestly miraculous.
Yeah.
It wows me every time and like brings me to tears to try to conceptualize that.
Yeah, try. It's
Yeah,
so
well, it's very hard for our little human
we're a little
brain.
conscious to like wrap ourselves around that. I find myself reminding me that all the time. Like if I'm in traffic and someone pisses me off, I'm like, you know what, we're all one. It's fine. It's me cutting me off. And that like helps calm me down and be like, why, it makes like this like team mentality almost with people instead of feeling like it's me against the
Against
world.
everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Or like if you're in a situation where somebody hurts you or you get betrayed or something, it having that um perspective really helps you to move through it quicker, where you're like, I am essentially like at the very, very, very root of it. I am that other person too. And I'm doing that to myself in order to learn and grow and experience and evolve as a human being on this earth. And that kind of can help you to see things from like a 50,000 foot view and not get stuck in feelings of hurt or loss or betrayal.
Yeah.
It helps kind of get out of that victim mentality
Hmm.
and why me mentality, so you can like actually heal, grow, and move on from situations. So,
And it is hard to find ways to look at the wide lens of life.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a mission.
so I'm kind of curious about where. So Coachella is like the beginning of the jewelry journey. And then kind of like where do you go from there? You just keep learning about sound baths, or kind of like what was that next progressive step for Carly?
Well, I guess before Coachella, I was already studying spirituality really deeply, and I think I'd already taken a couple like certifications with maybe Reiki or other energy healing, and I was already working with mentors and guides. And I think that I was already offering, energy healing sessions before that. But then I went to Coachella, and then the, you know, the the pivotal moment in Merkababe's career happened where I was like, wait, this could actually be something that could, have me make a living off of it. And then it just kind of grew from there. It just kind of spun out. I was like, okay, well, I can, do this jewelry and that really makes me happy. And what else can I do? Oh, I can offer these sessions that I've been trained in, but like I can offer them for real money. Oh, wow, this is exciting. And then I moved on and I was like, wow, I want more crystals in my house. So what else can I do? Oh my gosh, I can start consciously sourcing crystals from all over the place. And then I had a crystal shop eventually. And it just kind of like snowballed from there. It was just, what other modalities can I learn to offer to people? What other spiritual tools can I, you know, source from all over the world to, be this middleman essentially, or this one-stop shop for all things, spiritual and all things personal growth that actually truly help me and isn't just something that I picked up on the side of the road and was like, yeah, I guess this works. Something that I've actually truly tried and tested, you know?
Do you have a favorite crystal? I know that's so
I,
hard because there's so many, and again, it's like what's calling to you. But do you find there's one that you always reach for often?
you know what? Don't tell my other crystals, but so drawn to Caribbean calcite lately. It's
Mm.
this like it's this
Beautiful.
relatively newly mined stone from 2019 in Pakistan, and it's a mixture between blue calcite and brown aragonite, and it literally looks like the Caribbean Ocean from like an aerial view. It's unbelievably beautiful. I've been using it to decode my dreams, and
Wow.
that's what I'm really into right now is decoding my dreams because I realized that, you know, if you just find a stone, nobody really knows what the spiritual properties are yet. So you get to be the trailblazer and you get to figure out what that stone's metaphysical properties are in relation to you. And for me, I found that it was like dream recall and falling asleep and staying asleep. And so right now, that's my favorite crystal.
Wow, that's so cool.
The Caribbean calcite is
I
beautiful.
don't think I've
It's
seen it. I have to
like
look it up.
blues and then also those browns of like that sand and stuff. It is gorgeous.
Yeah, I just added 53 of them to my website.
Oh,
Ooh, we
oh
better go
wow.
shopping.
These are really beautiful.
You know, I think it might be, is it okay if I offer your listeners a discount?
We would love that a million times, and I will 100% use it for myself. So yes, please do.
Perfect. We'll just have it be fools.
Fools. Okay, guys. So anything on the Merkababe like website, if you want to buy something, use Fools discount code. I love that.
Yes, we're gonna go take a
Me,
look
I'm gonna use
immediately
it.
after.
That's so
I'm also curious, like, if you, because we are the Fools podcast, we do predominantly like target people who are probably more new to the spiritual concept of things and like thinking about these ideas. What kind of small, like, ways would you advise people to like start incorporating maybe crystals or sound healing into their daily lives?
Yes, perfect. I love that. You know, when you've been doing it for so long, it can be hard to put yourself back in a beginner's mindset. But because I've known that for so long, I've literally tried to do that all the time because that's where you learn the most. Because you look at everything with fresh eyes and you look at everything like you're new again. So this is a beautiful question. Thank you for asking. And I think to incorporate crystals into your life, like in the most easy way, there's a ton of ways. You can just carry them around, you can wear them, but the really juicy stuff comes when you start to build and nurture your relationship with the stone. It is literally like a friendship. You get what you give. So if you're giving energy and attention, meaning you're holding it and you're just like looking at it, you know, that can be considered giving it energy and attention. You have to nurture this relationship with the stone or you're not going to like really get anything back. Does that make sense?
No, totally. It's it's funny too because it's like if you place them around your house, it's kind of like little constant reminders of either what that stone represents to you or just like connecting you back to like a higher vibration.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can really start to receive messages from the crystals and like actually receive benefits from the crystals when you do give that like really focused intent to the stone and open yourself up to the possibility, whether it's the stone giving you something or it's the universe giving you something or it's your own higher self or soul giving you something, it doesn't necessarily matter. All that matters is that you're learning something, you're growing, and you're being open and to new possibilities. I think that that's the best place to start. It's just being open.
I love that.
I think that's definitely true about developing a relationship with your crystals. And so even today, I had a little red jasper on my shelf. Then it said, "Bring me to the interview."
Oh, I love
It
that.
wanted to come with me and hang out with Carly Tway.
That's
Oh,
funny.
that's sweet.
I've been really drawn to my tiger's eye recently. I keep throwing it in all my bags and I'm like, I need this. I don't know why, I just need
Just,
this.
I think that's huge. Like a huge way to connect is just like, you don't need to know why you need it or you're reaching for it. You just are like, I'm
Yeah.
attracted. Let me incorporate it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I remember that happened with me with an amethyst crystal. And amethyst, I don't really like because it's like such a common crystal and I have like a bunch of crystals all around me. That's not always the first one that I go to when I'm like, oh, I want to work with a crystal. But it was around and I just kept looking at it. Every time I'd go into my bedroom, I'd look at it and I'd be like, why do I keep looking at this amethyst? It's just like regular. And I was like, you know what, Carly? Take your own advice. And so I grabbed the crystal, I start carrying it around with me. And it's not a small piece, it's a pretty big piece. I'm carrying it in my backpack. And then eventually I was like, okay, I need to sleep with this crystal. So I started sleeping with it. And when I tell you that I don't even know where I went in this meditation, but I was experiencing something so otherworldly and I felt like I was like spinning around in a circle and like going, I don't even know how to explain it, but it was so wildly profound. It felt like something of another dimension or something. And I was like, oh, okay. I totally wrote that crystal off, but if I just, listen to myself and listen to the crystal, then I can experience something, really mystical and really magical.
That's so crazy because I feel like we're all so hard on ourselves all the time that I think that's why we sometimes ignore our inner voice and our inner, pullings. And it's great that you share that story because it reminds people like no matter where you are on any journey, like you're pretty far along in your spiritual journey. You started in middle school and you still have to like check in with yourself and be like, no, wait, I like there's a reason there, like there's I should validate this feeling. And it's I think it's always important to remind people that it's just like a constant state of work. You're never going to like reach perfection in spirituality or anything in life. So
Yeah. And you know what? That kind of brings me to this idea that I've been pondering upon for a little while now. And it's just like information that people are looking for, the big aha moment that people are looking for, where like the sky opens up and they see the hawk and like their soul starts talking to them in a voice and all these things. Like those are that can happen, but those are like very rare and few and far between. The spiritual transitions and like the actual magic and the synchronicities of life are in the really, really, really small, finite details. It's the listening to yourself when you're like, hey, maybe I should go this way instead of that way. And you listen to yourself and you trust it and you go. Or, oh my gosh, I should call that person. And so you call that person and they end up saying something so profound that really helps you figure out something that you've been wondering about, they didn't even know anything about. So a lot of the times it's just something so small and subtle. And that's our soul's way of speaking to us. And it's always speaking to us. We just have to be open and listen and let go of our expectations.
mm,
I think that is so huge. Like, I think subtle energy is like how you are constantly receiving messages and getting energy. And it's not always going to be in your face. It's not always going to be like the sky opens up, you had
mhm.
this spiritual revelation or a crazy Reiki session. Even though, like you said, it does happen, but it is those smaller, subtle
Victories.
moments where
Yeah.
you have to just like to trust yourself in what you felt.
Yeah. And trusting yourself is so hard because the only way to begin to trust yourself is to literally just do it.
Yeah. To realize like the ego is the only thing really holding you back, Like we talked about the law of assumption a while ago and how I feel like so many of us are ruled by the law of assumption, like assuming you'll be judged for something or assuming it's going to end bad or assuming nothing's going to happen even. And when you like realize that that's just your ego keeping you in like a small state of mind and you can like reach past that, then things will start like trickling in as you're ready for them. That's a thing that's like if the sky opened up and like an archangel started talking to you, you probably wouldn't even be ready for it. You probably freak out and like not even receive that message because it's going to be so triggering. So it's almost better to be appreciative of the smaller things that we are able to consume.
Yeah, absolutely. That's beautiful.
So I want to talk about your Oracle deck because me and Kate love a good deck. Um, we usually have a pool each episode, so we definitely, if you have yours on deck, I know that you're visiting family and stuff right now, so I wasn't sure if you had yours with you.
Oh, yes.
Oh yes, I.
Oh, yes.
Do you want to talk about anything about getting into like designing the Oracle deck, or did you just, did you start with like the words, like the affirmations, or was it more like the visual art that got you into it? Like, what was your segue into realizing you wanted to make a deck?
So if you guys haven't noticed already, I'm a very wordy girl. I'm like long-winded responses. That's where the magic is for me. So what drew me in was writing the description book, writing the guidebook.
Oh,
That
interesting.
that was where I started because I learned a lot of lessons in 2019 and 2020. I had some pretty big life shifts that happened, and I was learning a lot of like really, really profound lessons. And so I started, writing out the lessons. And then my second step was writing the names to the cards. There's 44 cards, and I was coming up with little funny, cheeky little sayings that I could make a card. And I ended up just matching the name of a card that I came up with a lesson that I'd learned that would go along with each other. And that kind of birthed the Oracle deck. So I started with the names and I started with the guidebook. And then I reached out to one of my longtime friends and a client of mine. Her name's Hunter. And I gave her everything and I was just like, this is kind of what I'm envisioning for it. So just go for it. So she did all the digital art for it.
Wow. That is insane. I love that you started with the book because, especially for an oracle deck, since they're not based off of tarot, which has like kind of not like set rules, but kind of like
There's like a story.
there's a
there.
story in each card, but like your interpretation can kind of be changed, and that's like the books. But with an oracle deck, it is truly coming from you. You can maybe use a guide from other things, but that's just like not the parameters put on oracle decks, which is great.
Right. Yeah, it was really fun because and the deck is it's interesting too because it's not like a lot of oracle decks that I've seen are really like beautiful and really positive, but my deck has a couple cards in there that definitely call you out. And I wrote them like that because I was essentially calling myself out and I needed to hear this message and I need to call myself out and I need to check myself in a lot of situations. So it's not like from the look of it, it's like pink and blue and pastel and beautiful, but like those are some cards in there that'll get you.
I would love if you could talk about your um like university offering, your school that you offer. I don't think
Oh
we
my God.
really talked much about that.
Yes. So the school is called the Merkababe Mystery School, and it's essentially a spin-off of the ancient Egyptian mystery schools where people from all over the world, most notably like Pythagoras and Plato, they went to the ancient Egyptian mystery schools to learn about essentially math and philosophy and all of these other spiritual modalities. And at that time, people really valued the spiritual side of things, the divine feminine, as well as the very linear, mathematical ways of the universe. So I was really inspired by that. And that's why the name is the Merkababe Mystery School. And basically, what's within it is many different journeys. There's a sound bath album of 11 sound baths and guided meditations that I created. There is a class called the Crystal and Clarity Essentials, and it's essentially just the basics and the foundations on what you can do with crystals and
Mm.
like beyond what you can learn on Google, like all of my own practices that I've either made up or, perfected over a long period of time, the things that I do every day. It's very personal and it's very powerful and potent, and that's what's in there right now. Throughout the year I'll be doing more classes and adding more things to it, but that's just kind of I've always wanted a school with all of this stuff. I wanted one place where everything resided in, and I'm trying to create that right now, and that's kind of the intention behind it.
That's amazing because I feel like there's so many places you can purchase crystals, but then to teach you about crystals and like how you can incorporate them, what they mean, how to use them. That's just such a nice step to be able to purchase a crystal from you and then be like, but what does that mean? I know I was drawn to it. I'm listening to my intuition, but like
Now where do I
now
go?
what? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like the main like intention behind the crystal course was really just like you can go to Google and you can be like, okay, Caribbean calcite means this, and this. But it can mean one piece of Caribbean calcite that's shaped like a star could mean something totally different to this other Caribbean calcite that's shaped like a triangle to me and to each one of you, all separate. So many different separate meanings. And I basically just teach you how to find what that crystal will do for you in that moment. And maybe today it's different than it was yesterday. And it's just basically teaching you tools and techniques where you can find it by yourself, and you can empower yourself to find the answers and not put all of, your power outside of you and look for answers outside of you.
Yes, we just talked about that last episode.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that there are so many ways you can work with Carly. So make sure you look in our show notes. There's a million links here.
Mhm.
And then I would love if you pulled an oracle card for us.
Yes, I would love to. Okay. The Oracle deck is called, while I'm shuffling, the Oracle deck is called Invitation to the Soul's Center. And it
Pretty.
comes with the corresponding sound bath album. So, you can pick a card and then look at the card, marinate on the meaning, and then you can do a sound bath guided meditation to really integrate the messages into your life and find out what it means to you personally. So,
No.
I love
the
how thoughtful all of your offerings are. Like, it's going that extra step to have that care to
Mhm.
like know the next step of like what you do with your crystals.
Yeah.
Or once you get the oracle deck, you also get like sound baths. That's amazing.
Thank you. It comes from having been doing this for a really long time and having made a ton of mistakes and having followed, people that didn't, put the power back into me, like empower myself, or didn't guide me to, seeing for myself. And I think because of that, and because I ended up in a lot of different situations that were really hard and hurt really bad, I think I was like, okay, if I'm going to offer these things for people, I want to empower people to find it themselves and to figure out what it means for them personally. And so they can, go on without me and not feel like they need me to, hold their hand through the whole process. And they can feel really safe and secure in trusting their own intuition and their own soul's wisdom.
So important.
And I mean, I think that is a huge testament to like any spiritual leader you kind of want to follow or anything like that. If their goal is not to like be able to develop your skills for yourself, like if their goal is to make you reliant on them, it's probably like
A red
a
flag.
little bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it
Okay.
also comes back to like make sure you like look into small businesses. I feel like as I get older, we have this hunch to just like go on Amazon and buy a tarot deck or whatever. And it's like, why don't you search Etsy or your small businesses or friends who who have shops and stuff like that. And that's when you can find the magic in things because they're putting their own magic into them.
Yeah, exactly. I think that that's so beautiful. Love that insight. Okay, do you want to know the card that I pulled?
Yes, give it to us.
Okay, so the card that I pulled is called Sacred Space, and it's this really cute picture of a bookshelf with succulents and crystals and books and candles on it. And the message is this: create an altar and keep it dust free. Place your crystals, your divination tools, these cards, or any other decks, flowers, or any other items that you see sacred upon it. Create a sacred space in your mind to retreat to whenever you need a break. Make your space sacred, your home sacred. Let go of clutter that is no longer aligned with your true essence. That can mean deleting those pictures that make you feel bad off of your phone, unfollowing or muting a person that doesn't inspire you anymore, donating those gifts from your past relationships that are sitting in a dusty old box in your closet, and whatever else that's stagnant and taking up space. Rid yourself of all that is not in alignment with who you are and where you're going. Make your experience sacred and set some boundaries. Boundaries are important, unbelievably important. Nobody and nothing is entitled to your energy. You decide what you allow into your beautiful sacred experience.
That is crazy. I feel like we always try to figure out how the card relates to this episode. And I feel like we try to create a safe space through our podcast, obviously. But we also just talked about how your store is a safe space to learn about multiple aspects of somebody's spiritual journey. And on top of that, me and Kate literally have planned our next episode to be about altars and taking care of them.
It's a literal psychic sneak peek from Carly about the next episode.
Like, what are the chances?
Which is amazing. I love it when we're all waving on the same length.
Oh yeah, we're riding the same wave for sure.
Well, thank you, Carly. Again, I just want to remind people, if you're going to purchase anything, if they use the discount code FOOLS, Where would they put that in? Like at checkout on anywhere on your website?
Yes, correct. You can put whatever you want into your cart, and then by the end of the checkout, it'll ask you for a promo code. Just look around for it, you'll see it, and you'll write Fools right in there, and you will get 15% off of everything you put in your cart.
Boom.
Yes.
You guys, this offer.
And you're going to the gym show next week. So are you doing private buyings for people still?
Oh, yes. I actually have opened up 4 more spaces, so we can link that in the show notes for personal shopping appointments.
You guys, this is a great opportunity to up your crystal game. Carly's, I love watching your little like videos on Instagram and TikTok of your collection. It is beautiful. And if I could request personally, when you get orders, if you do like packing videos, I'm obsessed with them. Just would love to see that.
Oh my God, that's actually wild. I've never thought of that. I love that. Are you a Virgo?
Yes, I am.
That makes so much sense.
That was amazing.
I literally, I just love when someone's like, I got an order in, and they're like wrapping it up and like showing you all the crystals. It brings me so much joy.
That's fabulous. I love that. I'm a Virgo moon, so I don't know, I feel like we're kindred
Identify with
spirits in
that
way.
energy.
You relate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well-
Well, guys, thank you so much for having me. I felt really, really grateful to be here. I know that you guys bring in a really beautiful group of listeners, and I'm just really honored and excited to be able to share what it is I'm offering with your listeners. And I'm really happy. Thank you guys so much.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming. We love you. We love what you're doing. Don't ever stop. And guys, please reach out to Carly and let her know how special she is.
Yay. Okay, we love you
Aw.
guys. And thanks for being here, Carly. All right, that's it.
See you next time. Bye, guys.